in this world, they have the challenges that we face every day. They have to go before an employer and make themselves attractive enough in terms of presentation as it pertains to how you communicate, how you look, how you dress, how you speak. All of these things resonate and can potentially influence a potential employer as to whether or not they're going to hire you or not. So when you've got tats all over your body, and in some cases, looking like you straight out of prison, that's a problem because it adds to the list of things being thrown in your direction to serve as an impediment for you progressing and moving forward. And that's what I'm sensitive to. Again, it's not just black kids. It's white, Hispanic. It's a generational thing. But the problem is that though this younger generation still has the older generation to answer to by and large. And I know that if you roll up to the employers that I've worked for, New York Daily News, Philadelphia Inquirer, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Winston-Salem Journal, the CNN, Fox Sports, okay? And then ultimately ESPN. The employers that I've run across, I'm here to tell you right now, if I rolled up on them with tattoos all over my body and my face and my head, I would not be sitting here with you today doing this show.
Now, that's
Those are the kind of things I'm sensitive to. Yeah. Those are the kind of things I'm sensitive to. It's not judging people. It's just making them aware that others will judge you. And guess what? If it makes folks uncomfortable, you're going to have to deal with that because my parents, my grandparents, they're uncomfortable with that, and they're black, and they're not racist, okay? So you can't lean on that and to use that as an excuse of being held against. How you look and present yourself matters.
You just dropped a lot of wisdom, and I'm glad you did point out we have a number of white athletes who are covered with tattoos. Birdman, Shockey, White Chocolate, Jason Williams, I could go on. Jake Long's got a sleeve of tattoos on his arm. All well and good. Let us point out, we might not be the most objective because I'm pretty sure you don't have a tattoo, and I know I don't have a tattoo. I do believe in body as temple. I just don't like the look of it. I wouldn't like the feel of it. I remember being in grade school, if I got ink on my hand, I just wanted to go wash my hand and get it off. But that's just me. So maybe we're not as qualified to talk about this as we should be. But big picture, with Colin Kaepernick, classic case of can't judge the book by this cover. Tattoos don't always symbolize bad guy or bad girl or rebel or criminal or parolee. Doesn't have to. Can go either way. So if Colin Kaepernick came to interview at ESPN for an analyst job, could just off his reputation and his interview, could he convince somebody he's not that guy, quote unquote, that people leap to the conclusion of? I would hope so, because I don't know him personally, but in all of his interviews, as you point out, seems like a really good kid. Very well spoken. I think he was well raised by adoptive parents. And yet, Stephen A., the big picture, and you brought up the column, so I'm going to mention my friend David Whitley wrote the column. And I don't want to criticize him, and I went back and carefully read it. And to his credit, he made a lot of good points. I must admit, I cringed when I got to the line, you don't want your CEO to look like he just got paroled. I wince at that image making. It just hits me wrong. But he also brought up a great anecdote that we need to bring out germane to this discussion. Remember Panthers owner Jerry Richardson to Cam Newton before he drafted him?
That's right.
The conversation went, Richardson, do you have any tattoos? Cam Newton, no, sir, I don't have any. Jerry Richardson, we want to keep it that way. Were you offended by that, Stephen A? I don't think you were. We talked briefly about it.
I was not.
Right.
I was not.
Because he's saying the quarterback position is his CEO position, and he wanted to keep it that way. Would Jerry have still drafted Cam if he said, yeah, I got one, like Ben Roethlisberger's got one on his chest that says courage? Alex Smith has one that honors his grandfather. I believe it's on his back, a small tattoo. Would Jerry Richardson have rolled with those? Probably. Is Cam a pretty upstanding young man? He had his indiscretions at Florida, and we're not sure what happened with Auburn. But still, has he handled himself pretty well? Yeah, he has. So does he qualify as a CEO-type role model figure? So far, so good. We haven't liked his body language on the sideline, but no off-field problems that we know of. So, can't judge book by cover. But in the big picture, I love what you said, because most people, older school, will leap to the conclusion it's a bad look. Kaepernick might be shattering them all.
Skip, may I make a confession right here on national television? Growing up in the streets of Hollis, Queens, and, you know, watching my mother do the things that she did, the greatest mother on earth as far as I'm concerned, you know, people always used to joke that even when I worked as a high school reporter at the New York Daily News and my clothes were too big and